What's up, guys? It's Alex, your Sunday guy. So this week's topic is male privilege. Due to the fact that I'm only almost 7 months on testosterone, I don't particularly have a lot of experience with male privilege. So I took it upon myself to Google situations that are considered male privilege and take a look and see what personally I feel like I can relate to. So this is why I will be scrolling on my phone. One of them is if you've had a bad day or you're in a bad mood, people aren't going to blame it on your sex, which I have seen done to females. If you're in a bad mood or you're having a bad day, the questions are you on your period? Why are you being such a bitch? Stuff like that. For me, that it works differently. I wouldn't say people don't assume that. I would say it's more so the blame is placed on my hormones. So I'm not fully to the point where I can get away with it. It's just like, oh, you're bipolar because you're trans. And it's like, no, I'm just having a bad day. But that's definitely an example I can relate to. Another one that I was reading is work comfortably or walk down a public street without the fear of sexual harassment. That's something that is definitely a privilege of mine, but it has been a privilege of mine since even before I started hormones, for the simple fact that I passed as male walking down a street. I never had to worry about that. Unfortunately, that is a privilege that men have. I'm not saying all men. I'm sure there have been cases of sexual harassment for guys, but that is majority of guys' privilege, unfortunately. Let's see. Walk alone at night without the fear of being raped or otherwise harmed. I think that that's also similar as well. That's never been one of my fears for the reason that I do present as male. There still is a fear that I could get attacked or something could happen, but that fear is the fact that I'm trans, which relates to the fact that I was assigned female at birth. So that is a privilege. Go on a date with a stranger without the fear of being raped. I think that for me, that is a privilege for cisgendered males. Me personally, I'm only speaking for myself. I think that men can get raped also. I don't think that a female is who I haven't told that I'm trans is going to think about raping me. But it's a fear, you know. I don't have to worry about going on dates though because I have a girlfriend, but... and I know my girlfriend's not going to rape me. But I think it's always a fear in my mind due to like our statistics that, you know, it could happen. That would be horrible, awful, but it does, again, go back to the fact that I was assigned female at birth. So that's another one. Let's see. You can decide to not have children and not have your masculinity questioned, which I think is true. I think a lot of women are pressured to, like, they're only here to procreate, and that's even something my dad said to me before I came out to him as trans. When I was identifying myself as a lesbian, he wouldn't accept me for the fact that I was placed on this earth by God to procreate with a male and make a family, because that's what I'm here for. So I think that pressure is placed upon women, and I've even seen it in person myself, you know, women who don't want to have kids. It's like, why wouldn't you want to have your own child? And it's like, they just don't want to have a kid, you know. It doesn't, you know, motherhood is not what defines you as a woman. It's just a choice whether or not you want to give birth to a child or have any children at all. Let's see. If you don't spend much time on your appearance, you won't have to worry about being criticized at work or in social situations. This is true. I think guys can look however they want, and it's crazy. Obviously, there's a lot of different styles for both genders, and in between. But I think, like, for men, it's like you have the clean look, you have the clean kept look, you have the grungy look, the hipster look, whatever. You can kind of get away with anything. As a girl, you can't really get away with everything because of society's expectations on how you should and shouldn't look, you know? And I think when you go out as a woman and you don't have makeup on, it's like, oh, you look so tired. You look so sad. And it's like, no, I'm just not wearing any makeup because I didn't want to do my makeup today. I didn't want to wake up early. But I think those are definitely there. As men, we don't wear makeup. Usually. If you do, good for you. But usually we don't wear makeup. We don't worry about how we look much unless it's for our own preference on how we look and present. You know, there are days where, like, I don't want to go out with my hair not done. And if I do, I put a hat on and I have that choice. As a woman, it's like, oh, you're going to put a hat on. Depending on what kind of hat it is, depending on how you're perceived. If it's a snapback, people think you're gay. If you are, you're not, whatever. It's just, there's so many things that people perceive by the way that you look as a male or a female. So that's true. You are not pressured by peers in society to be thin as much as the opposite sex. Like I said before, women have expectations to look and present a certain way, and weight has a lot to do with that, unfortunately. I mean, I have 2 older sisters, so I've definitely lived through them. I can't say that before I started my transition or came out, I ever went through that myself, personally, because I had a lot of love around me, so weight and the way that I looked and presented, it didn't really, what people had to say about it didn't really affect me, unless it was having to do with the fact that I dressed more male. Having promiscuous sex having promiscuous sex can be viewed positively. True. Women who have promiscuous sex are viewed as sluts or whores, and men who have promiscuous sex are badasses, and I don't think that that's fair, but it's the case, and I mean, it takes one guy to change that, you know? You don't have to let people praise you for it. It's just whatever. It's sex. If I want to have sex with someone, if I don't, whatever, you know? It doesn't have to be something that we let become a privilege. But the list is a little bit longer, but I don't really want to get much into it. I think it's pretty apparent that men have many more privileges in society than women. But I do think that our generation, the younger generation, turning into adults now, I don't think all of us agree with that. I think we need to change it, and it just takes one person, you know, just like a vote. Some people think that, oh, I'm not going to vote because my vote's not going to change it. I'm just one person, but it's a voice, it's a belief, and if you don't use it in a way that's going to change something, you're not going to change it. So that's my experience with male privilege. Sorry I had to bust out the list. I couldn't really think of anything on my own. But yeah, so I will see you guys next week. Next week I will be changing to Saturday, and Monty will be Sundays, so you'll be seeing me on Saturdays. So I'll see you guys later.